Good morning, my dear friends. I hope you all are doing great. Today we'll be looking into the third application of equilibrium constant, which is calculating equilibrium concentrations. So we'll be calculating equilibrium concentrations in various steps. But in order to understand those steps, I have taken one example here, my dear friends. Through this example, we will understand how to calculate equilibrium concentrations, my dear friends. So first thing is that we are having the 3 moles of PCl5 which are kept in 1 liter closed reaction vessel. So you are taking 1 mole of PCl5, my dear friends, and you are putting it into 1 liter vessel. So a reaction will take place. This PCl5 will break into PCl3 and Cl2. Remember that? PCl5 will decompose, it will break into PCl3 and Cl2, correct? Then what will happen? Then this reaction will attain equilibrium. Yes, the reaction will attain the equilibrium. At which temperature? 380. At the beginning what will happen? PCl5 will break into PCl3 and Cl2. But once the equilibrium is reached, at that time PCl5 will break into PCl3 and Cl2, and PCl3 plus Cl2 will combine to form PCl5. So forward and backward reaction will take place simultaneously when the equilibrium is attained, my dear friends. And this reaction is carried out at a constant temperature of 380 Kelvin, correct? So what we have to do for this particular reaction which is taking place, we have to calculate composition of mixture at equilibrium. Which kind of mixture is present at equilibrium? At equilibrium, reactants are changing into products. Products are changing back into reactants. That means at equilibrium we have reactants and products. So we will be calculating the composition of reactants and products at equilibrium, my dear friends. So before we go into this particular process, okay, something is given to us. What is that? Kc. Kc value is given to me. How much is that? 1.80. That is equilibrium constant value is already mentioned. So let us follow the steps one by one, my dear friends. Okay? The first step which I am going to follow here is that I have to write down the chemical equation. Okay? So let us see the chemical equation or a chemical reaction. So first step is write down balanced chemical reaction. So if I am going to write down a balanced chemical, reaction, what is my chemical reaction here? I have taken PCl5 in a reaction vessel. So this PCl5, my dear friends, will break into PCl3 plus Cl2. So this is the reaction taking place in the closed vessel, my dear friends. Okay? Now what is important point? Remember always one thing. When you take PCl5, it's a reactant. This reactant will change into the products. And reactants will keep on decreasing, product will keep on increasing. Correct? So reactant is changing into product, reactant is changing into product. So forward reaction is taking place. Only forward reaction. Then, have a look here. Then it's allowed to attain equilibrium. Once this reaction attains equilibrium, my dear friends, what will happen? This reaction which I have written right out here, it can be represented like this now. Okay? First of all, it will be only forward reaction. Reactants are changing into products, reactants are changing into products. It will keep on happening, keep on happening. So once the equilibrium is attached or attained or established, then what will happen? This thing will happen, my dear friends, now. Reactant will change into product and product will change back into reactant. Yes or no, my dear friends? This is only at equilibrium. So we have taken this equation now here. So this was our first step to write down balanced chemical reaction. So this is balanced, my dear friends. And you should always remember here the stoichiometric coefficients. Okay? What is the stoichiometric coefficient for this? 1. And what is here? 1. And what is here? 1. These are the stoichiometric coefficients for this particular chemical equation. So let us move on to the step number 2 now. So my dear friends, we will take on step number 2. In step number 2, we will actually make a table. In that table, we will discuss 3 things. Initial concentration, change in concentration, and equilibrium concentration. ICE. Initial, change in concentration, and equilibrium concentration. So step number 2. Let us make one table here, my dear friends. So try to understand this thing. So let us take our chemical reaction which we have already done. Beginning. PCl5 gives me PCl3 plus Cl2. This is my chemical reaction, balanced chemical equation. So I have taken that balanced chemical equation. So I am trying to show you now what is going to happen with this chemical reaction. This step number 2 is divided into, my dear friends, 3 parts. The first part is I have to take on the initial concentration, which is basically I. Okay, so let me take on the initial concentration here, my dear friends. So I have taken the initial concentration. Now second part will be, my dear friends, change in concentration. And that is C. Then finally we will have equilibrium concentration. So step number 2 has how many parts? 3 parts. So this is part A, part B, and part C. So I have divided step number 2 into 3 parts. Step number 1 was to write down a balanced chemical reaction. So I wrote it at equilibrium, correct? Step number 2 is to divide, the things into 3 parts, like initial concentration, change in concentration, and equilibrium concentration. So these 3 parts will give us a detail about this particular chemical reaction, my dear friends. Okay? And apart from that, if you see, you can also mention one more point apart from that, just for understanding, my dear friends. What is that? Have a look. Stoichiometric coefficients. Tell me, what is the stoichiometric coefficient of PCl5? 1. What is here? This is also 1 and this is 1. What will this stoichiometric coefficient tell you? It will tell you that 1 mole of PCl5 can give me 1 mole of PCl3 and 1 mole of Cl2. This is not our data in the question. In our question, this data is not there. You have taken this data from the chemical reaction. In chemical reaction, if you look, 1 mole of PCl5 can give you 1 mole of PCl3 and 1 mole of Cl2. So ratio between this stoichiometric coefficient will tell me here the ratio between reactants and products should be how much? 1:1:1. That should be the ratio. If this is X, this has to be also X and X. Are you following now? If this is 2, it has to be 2 and 2. If this is 3, it has to be also 3 and 3. Okay, my dear friends? That means this stoichiometric coefficient ratio will tell you a lot more information about this particular question, what is happening. Okay, have a look. First of all, I will take initial concentration. Okay, if you look at this question, you will find out PCl5. What is the initial concentration of PCl5? How many moles are there? 3 moles. So we have 3 moles of PCl5. Now you will think that we have a 1 mole of PCl5. No, my dear friend, this is just for what? This is just a stoichiometric coefficient of this chemical reaction. So experimentally we have 3 moles of PCl5. How many moles? 3 moles. Look here. So initially you will be provided with 3 moles of PCl5. Yes, initially. And how many moles of products you have? How many moles of PCl3 and Cl2 you have? Zero, my dear friends. Why? Because if you are provided with 3 moles of PCl5 initially, reaction has started or not started? Not started. When reaction has not started, so you have only reactants. Who is your reactant? PCl5 is your reactant. You have 3 moles of reactant. And how much will be the product? Product will be 0 at that time. And initial concentration of reactant is 3 moles. Beginning reactant has not changed into the product. So you have 3 moles of the reactants. So how many moles of products you will have? 0 and 0, my dear friends. Yes? Let us suppose your teacher has provided you with the 3 moles of PCl5. And that becomes the initial concentration of your PCl5, which is your reactant. And at that time, product will be how much? 0, because reaction has not started. Once again, reaction has not started. Only reactants you have. 3 moles of reactants, products are 0. Then later what happens? You will make this PCl5 to react. PCl5 will react. Once PCl5 reacts, it will break into PCl3 and Cl2. My dear friend, this is your reactant. Let me mention it here. This is our reactant. And these two are our products. Correct? We are saying here change in concentration. That means after some time, the 3 moles, out of 3 moles, some amount of, PCl5 will change. It will decrease. Correct or not? So it will change into products. Because reactants are decreasing and products are increasing. So how much amount of PCl5 is breaking or dissociating into PCl3 and Cl2? Let us suppose X moles here. Let us suppose X moles out of how many moles? 3 moles are dissociating. Yes? When they are dissociating from 3 moles, it means this will lead to the decrease also. Yes? When some amount of PCl5 is changing into PCl3 and Cl2, that means PCl5 will decrease. So I will take this X moles as minus. And what is the meaning of this minus X moles? This is the amount of PCl5 decreasing. X is here the amount of PCl5 decreasing or dissociating. Okay? Now, I can mention here also, it is the amount of PCl5 dissociating or decreasing. Better you can mention it as dissociating, that's enough. Okay? So amount of PCl5 dissociating is how much? X moles. Correct? Then how much will be the products formed? How much will be the products formed? You have to tell. Look here. Look at this value now. If 1 mole of PCl5 will break, then you will get 1 mole of PCl3 and 1 mole of Cl2. Now look here. If X moles of PCl5 are dissociating, then how many moles of products you will get? You will get here X moles of PCl3 and X moles of what? Cl2. What is the ratio? 1:1:1 is the ratio. That is general reaction ratio is 1:1:1. If 1 mole of PCl5 will break, then you will get 1 mole of PCl3 and 1 mole of Cl2. In the same way, if X moles of PCl5 are breaking, then you will get what? X moles of PCl3 and X moles of what? Cl2. Why I am writing minus here? I am mentioning minus here. The reason is that PCl5 is a reactant, it will decrease. And I am mentioning here plus. Why do I mention plus here? Because the PCl5 and Cl2 are what? Products. Their concentration will increase. So reactant will, minus means decrease. Reactant will decrease. And products will increase and increase. Positive sign means increase, my dear friends. So after, when X moles, remember, when X moles of PCl5 dissociate, yes or no? Then X moles of what? PCl3 are produced. So I will write down here X, or we can also mention it as amount of PCl3 formed. So this is our amount of PCl3 formed. And this is our amount of Cl2 formed. So reactants are decreasing, that is minus, and products are increasing. Initially, let's suppose your teacher has provided you 3 moles of PCl5, and at that time reaction has not started at initial level. When reaction has not started, reactants are 3 moles, products are how many? Products are 0. But after some time reaction starts. So when reaction starts, there will be a change in concentration. PCl5 is a reactant, it will decrease. How much amount of PCl5 is decreasing? X moles are decreasing. When X moles of PCl5 are decreasing, then X moles of PCl3 and Cl2 will increase. Why only X and X? Because the ratio is 1:1:1. Let us suppose if the ratio is, have a look here, if it is 2, try to understand, if I make it 2 for time being, then I will get here like this. If X moles are decreasing, yes, then this guy will become here, it will become 2x based on this ratio. It will become 2x. If this is 3 here, it will become 3x, my dear friends. Try to understand that. So depending upon this stoichiometric coefficient, we can decide here how much amount is decreasing and how much amount is being produced, correct? So now, when X moles of PCl5 are changing into X moles of PCl3 and Cl2, then equilibrium has achieved, equilibrium has reached. Reaction has reached to the saturation point. Once the reaction reaches to the saturation point, what will happen? Now, my dear friends, the reactant will change into products and products will change back into the reactants. That is important here. Now, after this process, after the change in concentration, the reaction has reached to equilibrium. Once the reaction reaches to the equilibrium, reactants will change into products. PCl5 will change into PCl3 and Cl2, and PCl3 plus Cl2 will combine to become PCl5. That means now the concentrations of reactants and products will remain constant because reaction has reached to equilibrium. So for that thing, we will now calculate equilibrium concentration. Yes? Now the concentration of reactants and products are constant. Okay? When X moles of PCl5 are changing into X moles of PCl3 and Cl2, after that reaction has reached to equilibrium. Yes? Once the reaction has reached to equilibrium, now the reactants and products, yes, their concentrations will become constant. Rate of forward reaction will become equal to rate of backward reaction. Delta G will be 0, my dear friends. So obviously let us find out what will be the equilibrium concentration here. So equilibrium concentration, what is the initial number of moles? 3 moles. So take initial number of moles. How much amount of PCl5 has decreased in X? So 3 minus X. Okay? Now what was the initial amount of PCl3 as a product? 0. How much is produced? X moles are produced. So 0 plus X is X moles. Okay? So here we have 3 minus X moles. Here we have X moles. And 0 plus X is actually X moles here. So remember now, this is the equilibrium concentration of reactant and these are the equilibrium concentration of the product. Product and equilibrium, and this is nothing but this is our reactant concentration at equilibrium, and this is product concentration, or this way I will write down reactant concentration at equilibrium, and this is product concentration at equilibrium. Correct, my dear friends? Please make note of this and we'll go further. So dear friends, now you have understood up to here that we finally got the equilibrium concentrations. Equilibrium concentration of PCl5 is 3 minus X, and equilibrium concentration of PCl3 is X moles, and Cl2 is also X moles, my dear friends. But now there's a question, what is this X all about? If we get this X, then we can get exact value of PCl5 concentration at equilibrium. So first of all, now our work will be to find out what is this X. We know that PCl5 is 3 minus X, but we don't know what is this X all about. X is unknown. So we have to find out this X. So in order to find out this particular X, we will just use the equilibrium constant equation. So we will substitute the equilibrium concentrations of reactants and products in the equilibrium constant equation, my dear friends. It's a very simple thing. So it will be our step number 3. So we have already done 2 steps. This is step number 3. In step number 3, have a look. We will take on, let's suppose, substitute the value of equilibrium concentrations in equilibrium equation. What is our equilibrium equation, my dear friends? Our equilibrium equation is, have a look, Kc. Kc is equal to molar concentration of products divided by molar concentration of reactants. So this is our equilibrium equation. That is, products are PCl3 into Cl2 divided by PCl5. This is our equilibrium equation. So what is my point? Substitute the value of equilibrium concentrations in equilibrium equation, okay, to get the value of x, or to get the value of x. Okay, I'll see, to get value of x. So I can find out x through this expression. Let us see. Okay, have a look. Kc value we know already. Kc value is given to me. Have a look here. Kc is 1.80. So Kc is 1.8. And PCl3 and Cl2, my dear friends, what is your PCl3 at equilibrium? Because this is your equilibrium constant. So these values should be taken only at equilibrium. Kc is an equilibrium constant, so you will take only these values. You should not take these values, or you should not take these values. For this expression, you can take only these values, because Kc is only taken at equilibrium. Kc values are only taken at equilibrium. Okay? Now PCl3 is x moles at equilibrium. Cl2 is also x moles. And PCl5 are 3 minus x. So this guy is 3 minus x, my dear friends. So let us simplify. We want to find out the value of x. So let us see whether we are able to get the value of x or not. Sometimes you will directly get the value of x. Then it's easy. You will put the value of x here, here and here, and you will get the equilibrium concentrations. But sometimes what happens, this equation will turn out to be a quadratic equation. If it turns out to be a quadratic equation, then separately you have to calculate the value of what? X, by using quadratic equation formula. So let us see whether we can simply get a x value here, or it will turn out to be a quadratic equation. Remember one thing, if I am getting the value of x directly here, no problem. Yes, I will put that value of x here, here and here, and I will get equilibrium concentrations, because I am calculating equilibrium concentrations. But if this equation turns out to be a quadratic equation, at that time, my dear friends, I have to further simplify the quadratic equation and get the value of x. So have a look now here. It will become 1.8 into 3 minus x is equal to x square. So this is our expression, my dear friends. So let me erase it. I need some space. Now look here, my dear friends, 1.8 into 3, how much is that? 5.4, okay, minus 1.8 into x, that is 1.8x is equal to x square. Let me transfer these terms to this side, and here it will come out to be 0 here. So I will get here x square, transfer this minus 1.8x, it will become plus 1.8x. Transfer this to this side, it will become minus 5.4 is equal to 0. Now this has turned out to be a quadratic equation. So this is our quadratic equation. In some certain cases, you will directly get the value of x. Yes? So easy, no problem. But here, this equation is turning out to be a quadratic equation. And what is here the stoichiometry here? 1. So you take it as 1 here. So what is my point here? Once you are getting the quadratic equation, then we'll apply the formula and we will get the value of x. Okay? Once again, sometimes you will directly get the value of x, no problem. But if your equation turns out to be a quadratic equation, then at that time what happens? You have to further simplify it, my dear friends. Okay? Now, this quadratic equation has to be further simplified to obtain the value of x. And when you obtain the value of x through the quadratic formula and all, what happens? You will get two values of x, plus and minus value. Then we will choose which one fits into our formula and into our problem. Yes? Has to be further simplified to obtain the value of x. So dear friends, now let us solve this particular quadratic equation and get our value of x. Now have a look here. Here we have 1, okay, 1x squared, 1.8x minus 5.4 is equal to 0. So let us suppose this 1 is taken as A, and this 1.8 will take it as B, and this 0.54 is taken as C. These two are basically plus, but this guy is minus, so C. So what are the values of A, B and C? A is basically 1, B is 1.8 and C is minus 5.4. And these values are basically known values, means we know these values. What is unknown value? Unknown value is x. So my dear friends, x is basically the unknown value and we have to find it out. So let us see how to find out this x value, my dear friends, by using a formula. So formula is like this: x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. This is the formula for the calculation of x, my dear friends, when you have a quadratic equation. So after that, let us put the values of all these things b, p, a and c and find out the x. Have a look. So here we have minus b. What is b? 1.8, so it's minus 1.8 plus minus of square root of b square, that's 1.8 square, minus 4 into a. What is a? A is equal to 1. What is c? C is minus 5.4 divided by 2a. So 2a is how much? 1. So a is 1. Now let us simplify it, my dear friends. You will be getting here minus 1.8 plus minus 1.8 into 1.8, you will get it as 3.24 minus, then 4 multiplied by 1 or multiplied by 5.4. Minus into minus will become first of all plus. So let us multiply these two things and find out what we'll get. 4 into 4 is basically what? 16. Okay. Then 5 into 4 is what? 20. It will become 21. So 21.6, my dear friends. So after that, divided by 2 into 1 is 2 only. Correct? So what I am going to do, let us sum them up and take its square root. Correct or not? So let's do that, my dear friends. So have a look here, my dear friends. Let's go for this. So x is equal to, you will have minus 1.8 plus or minus square root of 3.24 plus 21.6. So how much is that value, my dear friends? It will come out to be 4, 8, then finally it will come out to be 24. So 24.84, the square root of 24.84 we have to look into. So 1.8 plus minus, so I can write down here 4.98 square. Yes, so this 4.98 square is exactly near to the 5, correct? So let us cancel it out. So divided by 2, you will be getting here minus 1.8 plus minus 4.98 divided by 2. Now my dear friends, here you can have two values of x. So x can have here two values, either in terms of plus or in terms of minus. So let's take on the first. X is equal to minus 1.8. Let's take on the plus one first, plus 4.98 divided by 2. Or you can have x is equal to minus 1.8. Then in place of plus minus, I have already taken the plus, so I will take now minus 4.98 divided by 2. So when you just have a bigger number positive, smaller number is negative, then finally whatever you get here divided by 2. So it will come out to be around 1.59. Positive only, x is 1.59. And now here these two will be added up, but sign will remain minus only. So you will be getting here minus 3.39, my dear friends. So whatever you are getting here divided by 2, you will get 3.39, minus 3.39. Now out of these two values, you have to choose that which one is the perfect value of x which we require. Do we require a positive value of x or do we require a negative value of x? We have a formula here, plus minus, yes or no? So I took at the beginning plus, in second case I took minus. Expressions are same. I got 1.59 and here minus 3.39, my dear friends. So after getting these two expressions, let us see first of all, let us check first of all which one is basically our exact x value. Then only we will go for the another step, my dear friends. Please make note of this. Dear friends, now we got the two values of x. One is plus 1.59 and another one is minus 3.39. Now you have to decide that which value you have to choose, whether the x is this one or this one. So let us find it out. Before writing the step number 4, let us first of all understand that which value is the right value. I have already told you that we had PCl5 which was breaking into PCl3 plus Cl2, then this reaction has achieved the equilibrium. Then we wrote three values there: initial concentration, change in concentration and equilibrium concentration. We had 3 moles of PCl5, yes. Then how many moles were decreasing? X moles were dissociating. And initially how many moles of PCl3? We have 0 and 0, PCl3 and Cl2. And if you look right out here, how many moles of PCl5 are basically decreasing? So X moles of the PCl5 are decreasing. So the equal amount of PCl3 and Cl2 will be formed, because the ratio is 1:1, my dear friends. So it will be plus X, then plus X, 3 minus X, X and X, my dear friends. This is our equilibrium concentration. So when we look at the equilibrium concentration right out here, I have gotten the two values of X, okay, through the quadratic equation. Now according to you, which value is the perfect value for the X? Have a look here. 3 initial concentration, C means change in concentration, is X. So whether this X has to be 1.59 or it has to be minus 3.39. Remember, my dear friends, if you put this value 1.59 here at this point, that means 1.59 is less than 3. So if I put this value 1.59, it will become like this: 3 minus 1.59. So out of 3 moles, how many moles are decreasing? 1.59 moles are decreasing, are dissociating. So correct, no problem. But if I take in place of this 3 minus 1, if I take, 3 minus x, in place of this x, if I take minus 3.39, my dear friends. So obviously minus will become plus. So it will become 3 plus 3.39. It will become actually, my dear friends, here how much? 6.39 it will become. That means, my dear friends, The concentration, initial concentration of PCl5 is 3 and the final concentration at the end should be less than 3. Why? Because X amount of PCl5 is dissociating. So this value has to be less than 3. But in this particular case, when I am applying the X value as minus 3.39, I am getting this 3 minus X value. This is your 3 minus X value. 3 minus X value I am getting 6.39, which is incorrect. So this is the incorrect value and this is the value which we require. Because if you subtract it, you will get here 1.41. And look here, 3 minus X should be always less than what? 3. Because X amount is basically what? The amount which is dissociating. So obviously 3 minus X has to be always less. Correct? Now what is my point? We are getting 3 minus X as 1.41. So now my dear friends, this is the perfect value. X amount. If you look here, this 1.41 is basically the equilibrium concentration of PCl5. So what is the equilibrium concentration of PCl5? 1.41, no problem. Initial was 3, change is how much? Change is 1.59 and final is 1.41, correct? But if you look here, 3 minus X, how much is X? Here, minus 3.39. And if you put this value, then you are getting 3 minus X equilibrium concentration of the PCl5 as 6.39, which is not possible. Because PCl5 is only 3 moles. If you are starting a reaction with 3 moles, finally how can you get 6.39 moles at the end? That means the number of reactants are increasing, which is not possible because the number of moles should decrease for the reactants. I hope you have understood. So I will discard this value and accept this particular value. Then after that, my dear friends, now in step 4, this was just for understanding, my dear friends. In step number 4, what I am going to do is put the value of X, okay, in equilibrium concentration expressions to get the exact value of PCl5, PCl3, Cl2 at equilibrium. So here I will mention here to get the exact value of molar concentration of PCl5, PCl3 and Cl2 at equilibrium. So let us do it. So you know that at equilibrium what is the expression for PCl5? 3 minus X. So obviously the molar concentration of PCl5 at equilibrium, okay, is equal to 3 minus X. And we know out of this X and this X we have taken this value only 1.59. So it will become 3 minus 1.59, that is 1.41. And what will be the concentration of PCl3 at equilibrium, my dear friends? We know that PCl3 at equilibrium is X. So obviously if it is X, we know the value of X, that is 1.59. And even the concentration of Cl2 at equilibrium is also the same. That's X only, that is 1.59, my dear friends. So finally we found the concentrations of, you know what, PCl5, PCl3 and Cl2 at equilibrium. The PCl5 concentration is 1.41, PCl3 is 1.59 and the Cl2 is 1.59, my dear friends. So obviously we got to know about these concentrations. Now if you want to cross check your result, let us suppose you want to cross check your result. So how you have to cross check your result? Let's go for the step number 5 to cross check the result. Step 5 to cross check the result. Okay. So we have to find out now whether our result is correct or not. You know that our equilibrium expression was what? Kc is equal to PCl3 into Cl2 divided by PCl5, my dear friends. And now the Kc value was given to us, that was 1.8. And now PCl3, Cl2, everything is given to me. PCl3 is now 1.59 and this guy is also 1.59 divided by PCl5. PCl5 is 1.41. Now 1.8 and this entire expression should also be 1.8. So LHS is equal to RHS. So my dear friends, you have to see. If it comes out to be 1.8, let us suppose, then your result is correct. So after that, to cross check the result, okay, we have cross checked the result as well. And if they are equal, then your entire question is basically right. Okay, please make note of this. And this was all for the how to write down basically the calculations of equilibrium concentrations, my dear friends. I hope you have very well understood this particular problem. Okay, have a great time. Yo-yo, thank you.